Hey everybody, welcome back to Echo Base Network. Today we're doing a top 3 challenge, our favorite fantasy movies of all time. Let's get into it. Hey everybody, welcome back. Top 3 fantasy movies, my 3 versus his 3. Who has the better list of fantasy movies, me or Nick? You decide. And more importantly, what are your 3 favorites? And are your favorites better than ours? Well, here we go. My number 1, Nick. Number 1 right here for me. Actually, I'm going backwards. Number 3. We're going 3, 2, 1.
Yeah.
Okay. So my number 3 fantasy movie of all time, The Neverending Story. The Neverending Story, directed by Wolfgang Peterson and released in 1984, is a fantastical adventure that unfolds the magical journey of a young boy named Bastian. Bullied and seeking refuge in a dusky bookstore, Bastian discovers an ancient mystical book titled The Neverending Story. As he delves into the enchanting narrative, he becomes immersed in the mythical land of Fantasia, a realm threatened by the encroaching darkness known as the Nothing. The tale follows the quest of Atreyu, a valiant warrior, as he attempts to save Fantasia and its childlike empress from impending doom. Simultaneously, Bastian realizes that his connection to the story is pivotal, blurring the lines between reality and fantasy. Filled with imaginative creatures, including Falcor the Luck Dragon and the Rockbiter, the film captivates its audiences with its whimsical storytelling, poignant themes, and a reminder of the power of imagination. The Neverending Story remains a beloved classic that transcends generations, leaving an indelible mark on the hearts of viewers. Nick, I got to tell you, I remember the very first time I saw it, home theater, box office, got the VHS, I'm at my next door neighbor's house, laying in the floor watching it, and before you know it, man, that wolf with them green eyes, I was on the couch next to David's parents, scared to death. What a great movie, though. The whole quest, the adventure, going from one place to the next, incredible world building, fantasy mixed with reality. The soundtrack was amazing. Falcor, the Luck Dragon, like he said, the nothing, the sadness, the quest, the victory at the end. Just an amazing story. And it's a relatively short movie. Coming in at somewhere around 85 minutes long. It flies by. Thoughts on The Neverending Story, Nick?
So I'm definitely going to be in the minority here.
Point for Coach.
I have only seen this movie like maybe once or twice in my lifetime, and it never really stuck with me. I barely even remember it. I remember the big flying dog thing.
That's Falcor the Luck Dragon, man.
Yeah. See, I didn't even know what that thing's name was.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just I don't have a connection with it like you do. Like
no worries.
I've seen it maybe once or twice, and I hardly even remember it.
All right, well, it's in my top 3, and it is my number 3, The Neverending Story. Nick, what about you?
All right, guys. So my number 3 all time is the movie Legend with Tom Cruise. Released in 1985 and directed by Ridley Scott, Legend is a visually mesmerizing fantasy film that delves into a mythical world endangered by the malevolent Lord of Darkness, portrayed by Tim Curry. The story revolves around Jack, played by Tom Cruise, a young hero who embarks on a quest to rescue Princess Lily, played by Mia Sara, and thwart the nefarious plans of darkness. The film unfolds in a magical realm filled with unicorns, elves, and other fantasy creatures, where the battle between light and darkness becomes a central theme. Legend captivates audiences with its lush cinematography, intricate set designs, and a hauntingly beautiful score by Jerry Goldsmith. While the film initially faced challenges at the box office, it has gained cult following over the years for its enchanting visuals and unique take on classic fantasy tropes.
Great film. I'm with you. On any particular day, that one could be in my top 3. Now, one thing about it The film had two very different, distinct soundtracks. Tangerine Dream did one of the soundtracks, and the other one was scored by Jerry Goldsmith, I believe.
Yeah.
And the Tangerine Dream soundtrack, to me, is far superior.
Yeah, I agree. And that song at the very end was actually done by the lead singer of that
Yes.
band, Yes.
Yes.
Which is one of my favorite 80s bands. But yeah, that movie with it was the practical effects and everything in it. It was so cool, and it was scary. Like as a kid, like all those like demon creatures and stuff. Like
Oh, yeah, the
especially
goblins.
the goblins and stuff. I mean, they were
Cutting the horn off the unicorn.
yeah.
Yeah, just amazing, dude. And Tim Curry is darkness. Holy
God, man,
crap, dude.
it's like was somebody else. I when I found out that was Tim Curry playing that role, I was like, man, what a transformation. That character is just freaking awesome. Love it.
Really was. Really great film. Good choice. Good choice. All right, everybody. So my number 2, I'm coming for you, Nick. You better get ready.
All right.
I'm a big Jim Henson fan. I love me some Muppets. I love me Jim Henson storytelling. And when he did a movie and got into fantasy, it changed it all for me. Such an iconic film. What am I talking about? The Dark Crystal. The Dark Crystal, a 1982 fantasy film directed by Jim Henson and making his directorial debut, Frank Oz, transports audiences to the mystical world of Thra, a land divided between the malevolent Skeksis and the gentle mystics. The balance of the universe is disrupted when the powerful crystal of truth becomes corrupted, leading to the imminent convergence of 3 celestial bodies known as the Great Conjunction. As the last of the Gelflings, Jin sets out on a perilous quest to heal the crystal and restore harmony. He uncovers the truth about his own identity and the Dark Crystal and the history of his world. Meticulously crafted through puppetry and practical effects, The Dark Crystal stands as a groundbreaking achievement in fantasy filmmaking, weaving a mesmerizing and visually stunning narrative that explores themes of unity, destiny, and the eternal struggle between light and darkness. The film's unique characters, imaginative landscapes, and rich mythology contribute to its enduring legacy as a cult classic in the realm of puppetry-driven cinema. Even though the film is puppets, man, what a great story. What a great film. I love the quest of Jin, all of the issues, the clearly defined good and evil. Such a great, great movie. And, major props to Jim Henson for creating that world. I wish Netflix had done a little bit better job with the sequel, with the show that they did. I was very hyped for that, but I just could not get into it. It wasn't the same because it's hard to continue something that somebody like Jim Henson made or something that somebody like George Lucas made. There's only one way to go, and it's down. You can't continue that. So, but that is definitely one of my all-time favorites, Nick.
Yeah, definitely it would definitely be in my top 5. Not quite my top 3, but definitely my top 5.
Fair.
It was, I watched that movie so many times as a kid. The Skeksis, they kind of freaked me out a little bit as a kid.
For sure.
But yeah, great movie. Great choice for your number 2 for sure.
Thank you. What do you got? Come at me.
All right, guys. So my number 2 is Conan the Barbarian.
Oh, I didn't see that coming.
Conan the Barbarian, directed by John Milius and released in 1982, is an epic fantasy film that follows the journey of Conan, played by Arnold Schwarzenegger. From a young boy witnessing the brutal destruction of his village by the forces of the evil sorcerer Tulsa Doom, portrayed by James Earl Jones, to a mighty warrior seeking revenge. Trained in the ways of combat and survival, Conan embarks on a quest to confront the powerful Tulsa Doom and avenge the death of his family. The film is set in a mythical and savage prehistoric world, depicting Conan's evolution from a slave to a skilled warrior and eventually a hero. Filled with iconic quotes, intense action sequences, and Schwarzenegger's imposing presence, Conan the Barbarian has become a cult classic and celebrated for its gritty portrayal of the Hyborian Age and its enduring impact on the sword and sorcery genre.
Great pick.
Yeah,
Great pick.
that movie, I've seen it so many times. The second one was good as well, but the first one, Conan the Barbarian, is definitely my favorite. That was, one of his breakout roles as an early actor for Schwarzenegger. I couldn't imagine anybody else playing that part. Now, they, of course, did a reboot of the series with Jason Momoa a long time ago, and man, it wasn't even close. It wasn't even close to
Props to Jason Momoa. I love him, but he can't do it.
No, it just wasn't the same. Schwarzenegger he has that, that it factor,
Dude,
and he was awesome in that movie.
One of my favorite all-time scenes in any movie. And for not the reasons for what it's called, the orgy chamber. Now, that's not why it's my favorite.
Yeah.
When the two big bads come in and they see Conan and he is painted up, and he turns around and looks at them and he holds his sword up and he flexes, and that music is playing and they say, "You." Oh, dude, what a great fight, man.
Yeah. That's actually one of our super chat videos on our live stream.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Great pick. Great pick. This might be close, guys. I don't know. All right. Well, my number one fantasy movie of all time. Of course, it had to be Excalibur, a classic 1981 fantasy film directed by John Boorman, which vividly brings the Arthurian legend to life. The movie follows the mythical journey of King Arthur from his humble beginnings as a young squire named Arthur Pendragon to his ascent as the legendary ruler of Camelot. As Arthur wields the enchanted sword of Excalibur, he strives to unite a fractured kingdom, facing magical challenges, political intrigue, and personal betrayals. The film explores the themes of honor, destiny, and the eternal struggle between good and evil, presenting a visually stunning and emotionally compelling interpretation of the timeless Arthurian tale. With a stellar cast, breathtaking cinematography, and a powerful orchestral score, Excalibur remains a landmark in the cinematic fantasy, captivating audiences with its epic scope and mythical resonance. Great film, great score, great action. I love Excalibur, not just the movie, but the Arthurian tale itself. This young boy who is a squire goes from nothing to the king. And not only did he become the king, he became a great king. And then it shows him when he's getting his butt kicked and he makes a comeback at the end. And it's an amazing story of life, highs and lows. Merlin, the magician, the best portrayal of Merlin, the character Merlin, ever done in cinema. Ever. That dude is Merlin. That's all I got to say about it.
Yeah.
So go ahead.
I'll tell you one of my stories about this movie. So I only saw this as a kid growing up, but when I got to high school, in our English class, that was one of the stories that we were reading.
Yeah.
And so we ended up watching the movie, on VHS.
I hope it was edited.
Well, I only saw the TV version.
Oh, okay.
They showed us the actual VHS, the actual copy in high school. And I didn't realize all the sex scenes in there.
Oh,
and
yeah.
They didn't edit it out. In today's schools, you probably couldn't get away with that.
Heck no, you couldn't.
But yeah, that was the first time I saw the movie unedited. Was in my English class in high school.
So I saw it on HBO as a kid, so I knew all that was there. But whether it's the edited version or not, I can get down with that movie. It's my favorite of all time.
Yeah, we covered it on Doomcock's stream on on the movies we love portion of the stream, and yeah, it's a classic. Good pick.
Yep. All right, your number one.
All right, guys, my number one All time. And we didn't say this at the beginning, but the rules are, if you haven't figured it out by now, we can only pick one movie out of a series. So like Conan, I couldn't do both movies.
Right.
And so this is singular movies. So singular number one, Fellowship of the Ring. The Fellowship of the Ring, directed by Peter Jackson, released in 2001, is the first installment of the epic fantasy trilogy, The Lord of the Rings, based on J.R.R. Tolkien's literary masterpiece. The film follows the journey of Frodo Baggins, portrayed by Elijah Wood, who inherits a powerful and dangerous ring from his uncle Bilbo. Realizing the peril the ring poses, Frodo sets out with a diverse group, the Fellowship, comprising of characters like Aragorn, portrayed by Viggo Mortensen, Legolas, portrayed by Orlando Bloom, Gimli, portrayed by John Rhys Davies, and others. Their quest is to destroy the One Ring in the fire of Mount Doom, the only way to prevent the Dark Lord of Sauron from unleashing ultimate evil upon Middle-earth. The Fellowship encounters perilous landscapes, battles in the malevolent forces of Mordor, testing their unity and resolve. The film masterfully combines breathtaking visuals, a richly detailed world, and a compelling narrative, setting the stage for an unforgettable cinematic journey into the heart of Tolkien's fantasy realm. Now, guys, this is one of the best movies of all time, not just even fantasy, but that's why it's my number one. I remember Coach told me all about this. I didn't know anything about it.
Yeah.
I actually got a copy of a DVD screener at the time and watched it on the computer at my parents' house, and I absolutely loved it. And then after that, every single time the next two came out, me and Coach were there, opening weekend.
Opening night.
Yeah, opening night to watch.
Do you remember what I said to you when I called you?
Yeah, you were like, dude.
So I went to the theater, guys, and I didn't know what I was going to watch. I had never seen the trailer. I didn't know a thing about the movie.
Yeah.
My boys wanted to go watch a movie. We were in college, and I was like, all right, let's go. What are we going to see? Lord of the Rings. What is that? Okay. And then I went home, and you're the first person I called.
Yeah.
And what I say?
You're like, dude, I just went and saw this movie, Lord of the Rings. You got to see it.
And then I said something else. I said, I think. Actually, the first thing I said to you on the phone was,
Oh, I remember now.
Go ahead.
You said this might even be better than Star Wars.
As good as.
Yeah,
I said,
good as, yeah.
I think I just watched a movie that's as good as Star Wars.
Yeah, that's right.
And you were like,
I was like, what? No
what?
way.
I'm like, dude, I'm serious.
Yeah.
And
I didn't believe him, and I never even went to the theater and saw the first one.
Yeah. So he doesn't really listen to me, guys.
Yeah.
All right.
But later when I watched it, I was like, okay, yeah, this is freaking awesome. But yeah, absolutely love it. The first one's my favorite. I like them in the order of release. The first one's my favorite, then Two Towers, then Return of the King. But all three of them, after Star Wars, I think it's the best trilogy of all time. Great movie. Soundtrack, cinematography, got everything about it's awesome.
I'm with you. Star Wars is my favorite trilogy of all time by far.
Yeah.
But if you really look at the two and measure the two against each other, if I remove my personal bias growing up a Star Wars fan, if I really look at the two side by side, Lord of the Rings is a more solid trilogy than Star Wars.
I would agree with that. Star Wars is of course my favorite, but like we have an emotional.
We got blinders on, yeah.
Attachment, nostalgia. It was part of our childhood. So it has a whole lot deeper meaning to us than Lord of the Rings. But yeah, I would agree with you. If you take the two trilogies and put them next to each other and take away all that bias, nostalgia, connection from your childhood type thing.
Yeah.
Lord of the Rings probably is a more solid trilogy.
It is.
Star Wars, even though it's not my favorite. But again, I'm biased to Star Wars. So.
And all the things that made Star Wars great, Lord of the Rings copied it and did it just as well. From the score to the action scenes to the character development, like all of those things are incredible. So
there's very few movies. Lord of the Rings is one, and Star Wars is one where the music is actually a character in the film.
Yeah, I agree.
And Lord of the Rings just like Star Wars, the music is a character in the movies.
So good. Gotta have it.
Yeah, really, really great.
Gotta have it. Well, those are our top threes, everybody. So again, my top three, starting with number 1, was Excalibur. Number 2 was The Dark Crystal. And number 3, The Neverending Story. And Nick came at me with Fellowship of the Ring. Your number 2, remind me again.
Conan the Barbarian.
Conan the Barbarian. And then the third one,
Legend
with Tom Cruise. So my 3 versus his 3. Go ahead and let me know in the comments who won. Say, Coach. And because he is winning 1-0 right now after our last top 3, our very first one, the Nintendo games, top 3 Nintendo Entertainment System games of all time. If you've not seen that video, go check that out. I think I won, but Nick won in the poll. So whatever. It's time to even the score. Give me that like, whatever. Tell us, more importantly, tell us who you think won. Thank you for being here. We really appreciate it. Hit that like button. Give us a comment. Let us know. Give us your top 3. And we are You Are Echo Base Network. We'll see you guys on the next one.
Bye, guys.